welcome to a life-saving CPR training. We're going to talk about choking today, choking for adults and children and infants, and how you can help. Everything you have to do before we do a choking procedure, and what you might have to do if we're unable to relieve choking. So let's get right to it. So first off, if we have an adult or child, teen child, relatively young child, but someone who can communicate with you, if they're giving you the choking sign, maybe that's a good indication that they need some help with choking. Now, not everybody necessarily can communicate that way, so signs may look different. Certainly if we're working on an infant, they're not going to be able to give you that stereotypical choking sign, but they exhibit some signs that we can figure out. The first step is that you have to get permission to help, right? They're conscious, so we need their consent to help them with this. So we would start first, they're giving you the sign, maybe coughing or choking. You say, "Are you choking? Can I help you?" And if they can say something like, "Yes," then actually you should not do a choking procedure like the Heimlich maneuver or abdominal thrusts. Instead, we would encourage them to cough. The point is here that if they can cough or speak or breathe much at all, then they're not choking so badly that they need a choking procedure like abdominal thrusts. So we just encourage them to cough. But when asking them if they are able to say anything, so they're kind of giving you a physical cue like then that means that they definitely need the Heimlich maneuver as soon as possible. So, for an adult and for a child, this is the exact same technique. It's abdominal thrust, otherwise known as the Heimlich maneuver. I'm going to show you here on a mannequin like this one. So the first thing is we use a flat fist, and we want to be in the center of the abdomen, kind of the belly. We want to be above the navel, where the belly button is, and we want to be below bones, right? If you're hitting any bones, you're not doing a great thrust. So we find that position right about there. We usually want to use our other hand over the first. This is going to help give us additional leverage to give a good push. Now generally you want a leg forward. That way you've got kind of a firm, kind of additional leverage to give a good thrust, and should they become unresponsive, they will not collapse on you. So each thrust now is the one that's going to do it. It's not a certain number, it's as many thrusts as it takes. So 1, 2, 3, right? Just give those thrusts until you get it out. Each one is kind of inwards and upwards a little bit. You're trying to get just under the ribs a little bit at the diaphragm to force out an artificial cough. Now when you see that object coming out and they're starting to cough or speak, then hey, you've gotten it out. If when trying this and you just keep it up until you can get it out, if they become limp and unresponsive, then we can kind of lower them down along our leg to the ground, in which we're then going to do CPR. Now if it was a small child, obviously not an adult as tall as you are, we don't want to bend over to do this. You're going to lose a lot of your leverage. So instead you want to get down to the level of the child, and then we would do the same thing down on their level. Excellent. Now if it's a choking infant, a little different. Right? We've got an infant here. So the infant is not likely going to give you that choking sign. Sometimes they kind of look startled, kind of, like that. Some different signs as well. Once again, if they're kind of, right, for parents out there, when you're hearing that kind of coughing, gagging kind of sound, it's like, oh no, they're choking. But the truth is, if they're doing that, it means they're not choking. Once again, we kind of help them deal with it. Yeah, have them cough. You're staying there. You're there. You're ready to act if anything gets worse. But you really need to let them kind of work it out. Now, if they earnestly start choking, then we have a slightly different procedure. We don't want to do an abdominal thrust. That's his whole abdomen, right? So we do back blows and chest thrusts instead. And ideally, you want to sit down for this, because this mannequin is light and I can hold him up, but a real baby is a lot heavier. So you usually want to have him kind of resting on a knee. Now, we want to hold his jaw. That's going to give him good support so his head doesn't jerk around. We have him straddle an arm for good support. As he rests on his knee, his head is lower than his butt. Gravity is helping us out here. Now, it's not little pats. It's not like a whatever that is. You got to give it a serious, good thrust and not to be shy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After those 5, we bring our arm over so we've got a good control, kind of a sandwich here between the baby. We can flip him over on the other arm and the other knee. You'll notice his head is still lower than his butt, and I'm still cradling his head. Now I give him 5 chest thrusts, center of the chest, not on the abdomen, straight down, not upwards, just like we do in CPR. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After those 5, I'm going to sandwich him again. I'm going to flip him back over, and I'm going to keep going. And just like abdominal thrusts, we're going to keep doing it until we get that object out. There's no predetermined number that we're going to do. We're just going to keep it up until we get it out. If they spit it out and we hear crying, then hey, that's a good outcome. We don't have to do CPR. We got that object out. Now, we would likely still want to take them to see their doctor. Even though infants choke a lot, additional collateral damage can still occur, so we would still want to get them checked out. But if they become unresponsive and we're unable to remove the object, we lower them to a table, and once again, we do CPR in the regular way. So I hope this has been helpful. One bonus piece of information is, what if you choke and there's no one to help you out? Well, your best technique is to use like a nice hard back chair. We don't really want to pull it. You're going to lose a lot of that leverage that we need for a good thrust. Instead, you kind of thrust upon it. You're kind of falling into it. It hurts. It's not a pleasant experience. But if you're choking and you're alone, you don't have much of a better option. So you've got to treat it seriously, and you got to get right on to it. If you become unresponsive alone, then you're in some real trouble. So I hope you enjoyed this quick online training about choking. If you are ready to take your CPR training to the next level, you want to come down to a life-saving CPR training class in person where we do American Heart Association courses. We're in Carmichael. You can check us out on our website at cprskillssacramento.com. Hope to see you in a class soon. Thank you.